And we're live. It's good to be back, everybody. I hope everyone had a happy new year. It is still the holiday, actually. It's New Year's Day. I keep on telling you, I get so lucky with the Friday streams. Like every Friday's been something, a holiday or another. Christmas. I didn't end up doing the Christmas show. I know I told some people too that I was going to. Needed a day with the camera not on in the house, and there was lots of stuff going on. It would have been hard to do a stream, you know. So here we are, and we're getting right into some more, like I said, wordier recipes. Like I had to read these recipes 2 or 3 times, being like, and when do you need to do the what? But don't worry, we'll make it easy for everybody here. It's going to be a souffle too, and I know people. Now this recipe book is trying to say souffles aren't daunting. Like, well, maybe if you worded it better, it wouldn't be so daunting. We're gonna take care of it. And then we got a soup. So while the souffle is in the oven, we're gonna have the soup working for us. Just making sure everything was all clean. We're gonna also make sure our hands are clean here. And then as I'm getting the apron pulled on, we're gonna go ahead and pull up the first recipe that we have. I have everything written down for everybody here, and we'll make sure to do a sound check. So let's see, the first thing is I want to do the leeks, so there we go. So sunflower oil, get our butter out. I'm going to be using lots of butter this time around. Gonna go ahead and pull 2 sticks out. Want our flour out, our milk out, our cheese. Milk, cheese. And get that fancy cheese grater coming. And our leeks. Maybe you've never quite seen, maybe you're Henry V, you're Shakespeare. These are the leeks. You haven't seen them before. Yeah, nice and green. Fresh produce. Ah, love it. Ah, this celery looks great too. We'll put those over there. We're gonna wash them off here in a minute. And we're gonna check out, oh, that's right, I should probably make sure that the sound's coming in. A-okay. And then we'll also go ahead, I'll bring up the other recipe here. I want carrot soup ingredients. So we want an onion, we got the celery out, we need 2 potatoes. 2 small potatoes. There. And onion. So I wasn't able to find my no chicken stock at the. Ooh, do I actually have some? Oh, that was the open one. Don't want to use that one. So we'll just be doing the vegetable broth. And we got our milk for this one. Ah, the cilantro. I was happy to see this recipe because I have some cilantro left over from the garden, and it's finally starting to wilt on me, so very happy to get that in. And then this is a spice that I actually can't quite pronounce. Coriander. I hope I'm saying that right. But let's make sure it's go to my channel here and make sure we're all doing good. And then I'll have the chat back up. Let's see, Mood, good to see ya. We're going over the recipe real quick. And it sounds like my voice is coming in just fine. Yep, no Cam, just going over the recipe real quick. I really appreciate you though. Hello. Just getting all our ingredients out here. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and split this up though. So the leek souffle is the first one that we're going to be doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and wash off my leeks. I want to go ahead and I'm going to get everything prepped because we're not going to have too much time to be dinking around once things start really going. So I'll get my one leek out. Did I need more? 2 leeks. 2 leeks. The rest will go back in the fridge. And then let's see for our carrot. Let's see. Forgot to get the pound of carrots out. So this recipe calls for young carrots. I went ahead and just grabbed some baby carrots, cut and peeled already. Those are good to go. The onion. Let's see. Well, I'm getting all my thoughts together too. This cilantro came from the garden. It's already been rinsed off. I have to go through a little bit of the stuff that's been a little bit more wilted. Take that out real quick. Our butter's thawing. Good. Let's go ahead and get our cutting board out. Get our cheese grated. And how could I forget? How could I forget the most important part, the apron? My apron. This is a fun one right here. Oh yes, very important. So the soup is what we're going to be making when the souffle is in the oven. I want everything prepped already. And those potatoes are supposed to be chopped, not cooked. Same. Alrighty. This is actually the first time working off of with 2 recipes here. Normally I don't have so much to show you on the camera or anything. So I have my butter already out just to get a little softened. We're going to be kind of making a roux with that and then also using it for frying. So this is a vegetarian cooking show. We'll be using milks and things. Vegetarians can have these. If there are vegan alternatives that you can substitute with the butter, you can use something like coconut oil, avocado oil. There's a bunch of different substitutions. Fortunately, not all of them are coming to name right now. So let me put up, while I'm getting a little rinse done, I'm going to go ahead and put up the instructions for the first recipe here. I'm working on the free version of streaming, so I only get so many slides. Let's see, I want the leek instructions. So this is the leek souffle here. So I already have the oven preheated to 350, and we're going to fry the leeks for a couple of minutes until they're soft but not brown. Then we'll stir in the milk and simmer for 4 to 5 minutes until the leeks are tender. So what I do here on this show is we go back and forth. I do like using removing the milk because I know milk is something people like to cut out of their diet when they go vegetarian. I usually hear people stick with the cheeses, but people drinking milk, it doesn't always sit so well in their stomach.
these are a couple recipes I found, and I was happy because usually in this household at least, the milk gets used for a bit of cereal, but then after that there's not much use for it. So this helps polish off some of the milk. Just giving my vegetables a nice little rinse here before we start prepping them. Now I'm excited too. This is one of the first times that I'll get to be cutting up leeks. Normally we don't have anything like this on the show, but we are ever continuing to expand our horizons. All right, so 2 of those. Ah, yes.
So we'll go back to the full camera now that we've taken a look at that. And let's see how many. We needed 2 leeks for the souffle. And separate our eggs.
So I got my 2 leeks.
For the other recipe, how much celery did I need? So a lot of prep just to make sure I can get it. Just want to make sure I have all my stuffs ready. So the onion, 1 celery stalk sliced.
1 whole celery stalk?
We're going to do, that's quite a bit. I'm not sure it's going to need quite that much. This is a big guy. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use a little bit more than half of it. Took about half of this guy. Now I'll give him another extra rinse here.
Got some wonderful green leaves on it. That's going to be important for the garnish. I was really happy to find such fresh celery here. All this is going to make a wonderful garnish right here.
Okay, so easy stuff real quick. We're just going to go ahead, cut our onion, cut our potatoes, chop about a pound of carrots. So I do not have a scale. So this is 2 pounds bag, and I want 1 pound of carrots. So all I have to do, if I don't have a scale, if you don't have a scale at home, is just half the bag, 1 pound. So it's 2 pound bag, half the bag gets you your 1 pound. I always tell people, I'm like, I want to see Gordon Ramsay opening up plastic bags and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you're a pro until you have to finagle with one of those plastic contraptions. That's where the real entertainment comes in. All right. Sand 1.5 ounces of butter. 1.5 ounces. I'm gonna have to convert that. Butter's only in tablespoons. Okay, so 16 ounces, 4 sticks is 16 ounces, so 4, 8, 12. So each one is 4 ounces. So 2 tablespoons of butter is going to be 1 ounce, and we need 1.5 ounces. So 3 tablespoons of butter is how we can convert that. Like I said, this recipe, I wasn't too happy with how it was worded, but I figured I'd keep the wording exactly as it was. That way when other people run into recipes like this, they are not necessarily daunted or intimidated by them. Just 2 small potatoes. I have a little bit of the smaller hand, so smaller potato, it's like the size of the fist here. That would be like a small onion, small potato there. I'm going to go ahead and peel off the skins real quick. Get those prepped up. This is all the stuff that they'll just cut through on the cooking show, but I think this stuff is the important thing, is to see how people are actually preparing the vegetables. It's kind of why I was like letting people know first time, like really actually cutting up a
a leek. I'm looking at that. I might have to refer to how to prepare those because there's all this leaf. I know this is really good right here, but I'm not sure with this leaf how much is actually usable on it. So I'll need to look that up real quick. Alright, so got those carrots. Let's see. So the carrots can go in a bowl on the side. We can kind of get those out of the way for a second. Though I do want to get them chopped up sooner than later. Okay, and then grating the cheese. Taking out the cilantro. We'll do that real quick. Get some nice cilantro here. Hello Schmookums, it's good to see you. Happy New Year. Welcome to the new year. I mean a single branch when they talk about a celery stalk, but really it's the whole bunch. Yeah, I was just looking at that because I was like, no way they mean just one stalk here. This is what I was mentioning earlier, is that I kept the wording of this recipe exactly that way because I wanted people to understand how to decipher it. If I just broke it down for them in the little slide over here. Ooh, let me get the right recipe up though. The leek souffle is what we're starting up first. Let's see. And then yes, the leeks. I gotta look up to see how to actually cut those up, how much of the green that you're actually able to use. And I'm being very generous with my cilantro here because I just have so much of it. And then this coriander, if I'm saying that correctly, is I believe it's another type of cilantro, but it's like a Japanese or Chinese variation of cilantro. And this right here, what I'm doing, I'm picking off all the leaves from the stem here. This is one of those great things that if you have a kid and he's wanting to get in the kitchen, this is a great little project for them to do. And it's also really helpful because this is just one of those time-consuming things, and it just takes time. You can get one of those little herb. It's like a $9 tool. You can get one of these little herb things, and it just slides in, and it'll cut all your leafy greens off the edge there. Let's see. Those are done. Now, this is the last of the cilantro from the garden. It lasted so long, though. You can see it's just barely starting to turn. I'm very happy. I can't wait to get the garden started up again this year. I want to have some early vegetables, like I want to get my spinach in the ground right away. Maybe some carrots. I think carrots would do well. The ground is really frozen. Maybe not so much on the carrots. I think it would take them too long to get started there. Alright, so got my cilantro there. Put that over to the side real quick. Okay, let's see. 1 ounce of all-purpose flour. An ounce was like what? 1 1/4 cup? That is something I'm gonna have to look up real quick. How cups is 0.2. So it's like a 1/5 cup. What an awkward measurement. for my quarter cup here. And for this, if you're not able to get an exact measurement, this is going to be added to our butter later, so it's always better. You can always add, but you can never take away, is the rule of thumb to remember for that one. Then for my onions, I always like to have a second cutting board. That way all the rest of my vegetables don't end up tasting like onions. And what I do here is pretty easy, is that you got the root end, and you got the tip here. I just go ahead, slice off the top right here. I go ahead, slice it in half one more time. Makes it really easy to peel away. Alright, so lots of prep. I know there hasn't been a whole lot of cooking like there usually is, but we're just getting everything set up, and it'll be a really straightforward reading of the recipes. So 4 cups of the vegetable broth that will be coming in for the other recipe too. That's just going to be a whole quart. A quart is going to be 4 cups. Easy peasy there. Let's see. Got the stream up here. For garlic, we did the winter planning for garlic. Garlic would be a good one. Garlic is also will help keep hornets and wasps away. If you can take fresh garlic and you can break it up around your picnic table. It's a natural pesticide for the wasps, and the garlic makes them almost docile. In fact, my friend had some bees that were coming in through his attic one year, and I put some garlic around, and this is when we learned that it pacified them, because it flew and it darted for the window wanting to get out, and it couldn't, and then it just stayed there, and then you could get like right up to the bee. It was the most interesting thing. And then it made sense. I was like, oh, these are docile, because in my garden I had the garlic growing, and there was actually a wasp nest right under. I had a little rail, and right underneath it there is a wasp nest, and totally docile, never bothered me. When they wanted to come home, and when they came home, the garlic just made them not ferocious, just very, very docile. And then when they left, they were shooting out to go somewhere, so they had someplace to be, not, in my face while I'm trying to harvest the corn and all that. So I'm dicing up my tomatoes here real quick, and I'm not dicing these in any particular way or fashion. I'm just getting them into cubes, about 1/4 inch cubes. This is going to be processed with, it can be processed in a blender. I'm going to go ahead, and I have an immersion blender, which is really nice for soups that I'll go ahead and be able to use. So we got our tomatoes all chopped up here. Make sure everything's coming in on the camera. Oh, a little too high. There we go. Now we got the cutting board. And then for the leeks. Well, sometimes there's really only, sometimes there's only one way to find out what the flavor is. You just gotta take a little bite. Wow. That almost has that has a great flavor. I love it. It almost, I know this might be a little weird, but it almost reminds me a bit of meat. A little bit of meat for some reason. Alright. Let's see. The flour, 4 eggs separated. Ah, that's going to be the fun one. Separating out our eggs real quick. So we got those. And the cheese. Let's see, I got the onions. Oh, that's right, I need to finish cutting the onion here. didn't know cutting onions was so controversial with some people. I guess some people are really religious about the way they cut their onions. My only really religious rule about it is don't cut yourself. It's much more impressive to hear about a cook that's been cooking for 10 years that still has all their digits than it is for, like, oh, I can cut a bag of onions in under a minute, but they're missing like 6 out of their 10 digits. And then also, the recommended tool for the day is going to be a broom. You'll hear me say it all the time, clean as you go, sign of a pro. So we'll just do a little sweepy up here, get this all off the floor real quick. All right, that's taken care of. A little quick washy of the hands in between the fingers. Really important to wash your hands, especially in the winter times. It will help keep the family from getting sick, or it'll help you from getting sick. Now that should be all the flour I need, so measuring cups is what I want to get out now. We're going to need a couple of them. Okay, these leeks. Is this what we're doing? Yes, we're going to go ahead and get the souffle dish out. I'm going to go ahead and get that buttered up too. I want to go ahead and bring over the instructions for the leeks now, and you'll start seeing what I'm talking about on the wordiness of everything. Now that's probably a bit small, so let me make it big here for you for a minute. So we already have the oven preheated to 350 degrees. We're gonna pretty basic on buttering up our souffle dish. And I'm gonna get a small saucepan starting to warm up. And let's see. It's going to be, does it say small? Does it really say? I thought that there was more milk involved in this one. I got 2 milk recipes, and it's really throwing me off on how much milk goes into each one. 1 1/4 cups for this one. So, I guess that is not too much. And see, looking down where it's starting to go green, where it says make up the reserved liquid with milk into the pan to make a smooth sauce. Oh, you know what? I think I didn't transfer that right. That's why that one looks worded incorrectly. Bring back the split camera here. Okay, heat the oil. Let's see. That's my unopened. This is the open. And it was only a tablespoon. And how much? And how much butter are we going to use? This is what. A 1/2 ounce of the butter. Small saucepan. We're gonna use this guy right here. And how you'll know that this mixture is ready is when it stops bubbling. Got that there. Okay. And I want to have a strainer. This is where the larger measuring cup is going to come in handy for when we need to strain the liquid in. Go ahead these away. This is slowly coming to temp. I left the spoon in here just to help melt the butter off of it. I'll take it out of there. So when you break it down though, this recipe right here is actually pretty easy. Like after the prep is out of the way, you just kind of like make sure you don't brown things, and you just cook it for, or you bake it for 30 minutes. Oh, the separating of the egg whites. This is actually another important step. We'll go ahead and do that as the butter's getting the temperature. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, put my onions in another bowl here. I just have this for my egg mess here. In fact, I don't even really want to do it on the cutting board. The rest of the cilantro away too. Ah, yes. Oof. Yeah, I try to avoid recipes that take more than 45 minutes of prep time. That's a lot of prep time. That's also being able to do prep as quickly as possible. But usually when you're in the kitchen cooking every day, that prep time can get cut down. If you have onions already cut and prepared, like I'll use half an onion all the time, and then I'll just put another half an onion into one of these jars already diced, and then it just makes it really easy to add it to my meals here. So the butter is starting to bubble, so it's not quite up to temp here, and the leeks, we need to have our leeks ready for this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, like I said, I'm a little new to this, and they're looking really good. Let me look into the little book real quick and just make sure I'm preparing these leeks correctly, because I would be ashamed to show you guys the wrong way. Leek, 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 leek. So what I'm doing in the cookbook here is I'm looking in the index and I'm looking for leeks. Trying to do this quickly, come on. Lemons, leeks, 272. So now I know the page that it's at. I can just flip in my recipe book. Okay. Before cooking, okay, it's important to wash the leeks and trim the base. Okay, so you have to cut away the leaves. Okay, so the leaves are not used. The first layer of light. Okay. All right, that is what I need to know here. Okay. So, usually I just give a nice little tear. I'll do this other one on camera. There we go. No cutting required on that bit. I'm going to set these aside for compost, possibly. Now, be careful when you're doing this. You want to make sure that you don't burn your butter. Burning your butter is going to be a bad taste. Definitely would be noticed in this recipe. Aha. So these must have a very strong flavor. Throw the roots away here. Let's see. Stir. Let's see here. Thinly sliced leeks. Okay. So a lot like a green onion, actually. I'm just using my fingers as a guide, getting up to the green bit here. Now I just pull my fingers back a little bit at a time. There we go. Huh. That seems pretty small on the leak department. Okay. For 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so we had it stop bubbling. This is perfect. Right in time. Ah, there's that cooking sound. And I know this is getting a little bit on the greener side, but I just want, I'm not afraid. This is what being a vegetarian is all about. So a little bit on the greener, but I wanted to add just a little bit more. That way I have a nice coating on the pan here. That's getting started. And then we're going to want to make sure, if I had my milk measured, I wouldn't need to. 1 1/4 cup. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for 4 minutes because I'm still new to leeks, so I don't want to over brown these. I'm also going to make sure that I turn my heat down just a little bit. Okay. And what Schmookums was talking about is very important. Cleaning as you go is going to make it not a daunting task once you've finished making your food and you're sitting down ready to eat. You can have everything already cleaned up, done. Just have to find ways in between everything. Okay, got the onion there. And then I'm going to want a lid until the leeks are tender. Okay. Let's go with a clear lid just so we can see what's going on with it. Yeah, that'll work okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take these off the heat because some of these are browning. And they're saying before they are brown. So I want to go ahead and add my milk. And we were talking 1 1/4 cup. Flip back over. Yep, 1 1/4 cup. Like I said, messing with caps is the most riveting part. 1 1/4. Woo! Alright. And that again right there is why one of the things I say is always have your handles here. That way you don't risk knocking them. Alright, and double reading the recipe, stir in the milk and bring to a boil. Okay. To 6, so it got probably a little bit browner already than what the recipe was calling for, so it only took about 2 minutes. Okay, and stir in the flour. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add another 5 minutes to our timer. It does need to get to a boil first, but separating the eggs, that is something that we didn't quite do yet. We have time for that now. our milk back in the fridge for now. We're going to rinse out this cup, measuring cup. Wait, it's ready for something else. Okay. So, make sure you can see me on the camera here. Okay, let's see, maybe, even though I don't want to do it on the cutting board, I think, just so you guys can see this better. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to crack it. And then we're going to what we're going to do is we're going to pour in the egg yolk, and you're just trying to cup the yolk, and then all the egg whites, and you just do that back and forth a couple times. Now it just broke, so go ahead and get rid of it. I'll do that a couple more times. I'm so used to breaking these one-handed. So it really wants to stay together, so just pushing it back and forth is really gonna be what separates it. And this is coming to a boil very quickly, so I'm gonna go ahead and hurry up with this. And I'll need to wash my hands. And we got just a little bit of egg white in here, which will be okay. Ooh, come on, work with me, baby. I hope it'll be okay. Ooh, that milk is coming to a boil. Happened in 2 minutes. Cover and simmer for about 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so it got brought to a boil. Now we just need to simmer it. We'll get our lid on here. Lid, 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 lid. There it is. Okay. And we'll have that going. Got the eggs separated. Okay. And then we want some butter in another saucepan here. So it's going to ask us to strain this in a couple minutes. That we'll strain it, and then we're going to cook mix the butter and the flour in this. And then we're going to go ahead and grate our cheese real quick. So this is 0.48 ounces. So this is this is 0.48 pounds, and there's 28 ounces in a pound. So to get 3 ounces, so 48. By doing math, so there would be 14. So to get 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 into fifths. So about yay much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will be about 3 ounces right there. We're going to let that go just 1 more minute. So everything else has been happening so fast. And it doesn't say how finely this wants to be grated, but I'm going to go on the finer side. And this is, what type of cheese this is just a harder Swiss cheese. I've seen some macaroni and cheese recipes for it. It was a little bit more on the expensive side. That little block right there was just $9, so I definitely wouldn't use it for mac and cheese. I'd rather just use cheddar or something for that. And I knew I was going to be... So when you get this close to the grating, just go slower and you won't chop up your fingers at all. Okay, just in time. I'm going to take this off the heat now. Get our eggs put away too. And the strainer. Ooh, algebra in real life? Yep. Let me. I have some things to say about that. So this wasn't quite ideal. I didn't get quite everything in there. Never gonna have too large of a measuring. Get that picked up. I'm messing with my hands right now, so we'll get back to that. Now I understand why they're saying in a clean saucepan. So we're gonna let that cool down for a second. So this is a little bit too tarnished for me to be able to do the butter roux mixture too well. So actually, let's see how well. Nah, it's definitely needs a little tender love and care real quick. This is another just proof in the pudding. Clean as you go. Sign of a pro. And then I want that on the burner because I want the water, because I'm going to be doing a butter mixture. Okay, so the reason why it's important that this was a measuring cup is because we still want it to get it back to 1 1/4 cups. I need another bowl for these leeks real quick. Those leeks in there. And then I needed that butter flour mixture. That's right. We're going to go ahead and help the process along here. We're going to turn this up to about 3. We're just going to use a paper towel here. Ooh yeah, ready to go again. And so I need about 2 tablespoons of butter. That's almost all of this right here. Let that start melting again. Woo, okay. And this is, it doesn't say in this recipe, but what this would be is this would be a roux when you're combining equal parts of flour and butter. Oh, a 5th cup. Duh, I should have just remembered that earlier when I did all the measuring for the 5th cup. Oh, a roux, equal parts flour, equal parts butter. I could have just used a couple tablespoons. Whoopsies. Okay, so this just needs, it says to add back in more milk if necessary. And it's almost right there already. It needs just a smidge of milk to bring it back up to that 1 1/4 cup. There we go. And that butter is almost melted. And we're almost done with the souffle here. Got our cheese all ready. All right, we're ready to add in our flour mixture. With some confidence, like I said, you can add, but you can never take away. And it's going to make a little bit of a paste. And this is what this is going to be used as a thickener. And now we're going to set our timer for just 1 minute. Those timers have been super handy because I've been getting caught up talking. And we just need to cook it for 1 minute. This is a bit too large to be done in this pan for how little we're doing, but I want to add everything back into this and bring it back to a boil into this instead of using a second pan. And it just needs to cook for 1 minute. It's just a little bit of a browning is what we're looking for. I wish I knew more about the chemical process that was happening here right now, but that's what school's for. Okay, so bring in a little extra light. So we only have 10 seconds there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to add this liquid back to make a smooth sauce. So perfect, it's just starting to bubble, so we're going to go ahead add in this liquid, bring it up to a boil. And actually, I want to whisk this. I want to make sure it's nice. And then maybe I was talking about this and then I got distracted. Well, on the show, this vegetarian cooking show, we do use oat milks, we do use milk alternatives, there will be a cheese alternative show. We'll make enchiladas one time using some zucchini, and we can make imitation cheese. It's coming to it's getting nice and thick. So it's thickening up. Excellent. Let's see. So now that it's thickened, we can go ahead and actually remove it from the heat. And it says to go ahead and stir in our cheese. Our leeks. And the egg yolks. And we're going to do something with the egg yolks real quick, is that we're going to beat our egg yolks separately real quick, and that's going to help bring some more air. The air will be in the egg yolk. Get that real quick. Off the heat. And then you can do quick movements, but just doing big broad movements will also really help stir it quicker. And then when you see, like when you have a batch, when you have a thick spot, a little, but really the bigger, broader strokes, more surface area. Again, that math that we never said that we were going to need. See, it only melts when wet though. Oh, the fake cheese. Oh, ooh, I can't wait to hear that. I'll have to read that in a second. Put this back on the temperature. Let's see. Okay, so we cooled it slightly. Okay, so now we need to whisk in the egg whites. And then the remaining of this. This is why I like having a prepared butter for it. Makes it really easy to. And then actually, I was being dumb. We need to use a ceramic, or not a ceramic, we need to use a, one of these guys is what I want, not the wooden. This is how we get spread around. Just spreading it all the way around. And we already have our oven preheated to 352, so we're golden there. Woo! One of these days my computer is going to get hit. I can't believe all those people that cook with their laptops just right out on there. I'm like, whew, I can't even afford a laptop. People being super ballsy with it. Alright, we got the leeks in. Okay, now we need to, so I'm going to reuse one of the bowls here. I'm going to transfer my egg whites in real quick. And so we're going to have to whisk the egg whites until they are stiff. I'm going to go ahead and use a second whisk here. You know, I might need a bit of a larger bowl than this. I don't want to use this because I want to use that later. Getting a little messy today. Okay, whisk the egg whites until stiff. Ooh, now I can read the cheese. Okay, I think my favorite flavor of the fake cheese out there is Chow's cheese slices, and the original flavor, good tang, but it isn't crumbly. Only melts when wet though. Huh. Whisk the egg whites until stiff. Oh my goodness, how long is that? Whew! I'm pretty sure this is a really important part. Until stiff. Gosh. It's getting there. Slowly but surely. I need more Guitar Hero practice. This would have been a great opportunity for the immersion blender. It has a whisk to save myself some arm work here. I'm sure that's lovely on a microphone too. Woo! Did we get there? Never had to do something until it was stiff. There we go. Okay. 20 more seconds. Woo! Okay, worked up a sweat with that one. Alright, so it says, I had that large metal spoon around here somewhere too. I had a big one. Yeah, a big spoon, okay. it in. Yeah, man, a little messy in the kitchen today. Okay, so this is the folding. You can go ahead and turn that button off. So it doesn't say, it's important, you don't want to stir this because I think you'll break up the nice foaminess. So you want to be gentle to not break these bubbles because this is going to help with the souffle. That's why you need to fold it in. And we're almost there. Now I'm not sure what the secret is about the metal spoon. I don't know what it could. I don't know what it means. I don't know why. Okay. Now we'll transfer this. We'll get all that goodness in there. All that we can. If it doesn't get in the food, it just ends up in the trash. All right, and now we just stick it in the oven for 30 minutes. We'll see how we did. Now we're going to work on the soup. 7:13 Mountain Time. I think we're making pretty good time. Show normally wraps up 8 o'clock Mountain Time. And then I have to get my butt to work after that. All right, so now we have a carrot soup. Gotta get this back up. Let's see. Oh, there's more to the now we got nachos. I'll be able to get to that in 1 second, schmookums. Let me bring up the next recipe here. So we're all done with the leeks, carrot and cilantro. Let's see. So, let's take care of the celery real quick. So, now you gotta save these bits. This is gonna be for the garnishing. We got beautiful garnish this time around. It's really quite great. And let's see. Tried making nachos with it and just draped over the chips and just got hard on the edges. Melt it in a roux for a cheese sauce. Folks, if you don't know, Schmookums always makes me hungry, even though I'm cooking all this food. She just always has these great ideas. Cheese sauce and a sandwich was like Monterey Jack and a Swiss combo. Ooh. Oh, I need to eat something now. That sounds really good. I'll keep my eye out for it. Okay, so let's see. I want the instructions. Okay, so again, I want this cleaned out real quick. Keep on continuing using the same saucepan. Here, let me bring up the full receipt while I'm dinking around in the dishes, okay? That's the leeks. I want, yeah, that's what I want. And right back on onto the burner again. Turn it to a 3. We'll let the water evaporate on that a little bit. We'll start tidying up a bit. So this, I said I was going to save that for the side, but I lied. Okay, and we should get that cutting board cleaned off a little bit better. So I'm a big fan of the dishwasher, but I'm not a fan of owning 7 different pans. So cleaning as you go, once again, saves the day here. Then I also will make the same note as always, is that try not to put knives into your dishwasher or your box grater. It will cause them to dull a little bit too quickly. Okay, I think that's all I need to mess around with that real quick. Back to the kitchen. Okay, so we're gonna, let's see, the first thing we're gonna fry the onions. Another paper towel. This is important not to have any water with this one. Since that was just water, we'll reuse, part of the reduce, reuse, recycle. We'll save that for a little cleanup mess. And let's see, how much butter? Oh, not that one. Oh, yeah, that one. 1.5 ounces of butter. And again, this recipe is starting very similar. The same, adding a little bit of oil and butter. Tablespoon of oil here. Butter there. I'll add to our butter dish. And then I'm going to go ahead with these carrots next. Now these carrots are a little wet, so I like having, and you can use a paper towel, but I have some kitchen cloths right here. They're a little, what would I call it? They're like hard, thick, like muslin. I'm not exactly sure, but they're not fuzzy. They don't have fuzzies on them. They're very thick, threaded. And I use this kind of pat everything dry, because you want to fry or saute, and to fry you can't include water into that mix. You'll end up steaming and the vegetable will be different. Okay, so we're getting that. So if your butter, learn this trick from Julia Childs, if your butter is bubbling, it's not at the right temperature yet. We're going to go ahead and we're just chop. Let's do it this way. Prep right here. And this just says to chop them. Don't need nothing big. Again, this is going to be a food processor is going to take care of this. And we already have our onions. We can dink around with this because we already have our onions already chopped. This is where we save the time from the beginning of the show finally. And you don't want to, again, don't want to burn your oil, or just burn your butter. Adding in the oil is actually increasing or raising the burning temperature of the butter. That's why you mix the two, and you're able to get that nice buttery flavor. And then if you're going more on the vegan, you can always just fry it with oil. You're just missing out on a little bit of the taste. Butter is one of those, I'm not much of a big milk drinker, but butter is one of those staples I do like to have in the house. It's very good for a variety of things. Alright, and it's almost stopped bubbling here. And just a rough cut is all that we needed here. And then we'll have our cilantro that we'll dice here in a second. Ooh, yes, our celery. Let's get that taken care of. This is a large cutting board. Really helps. Okay, so this is almost ready. Almost ready. Did it say to slice this? It didn't say to slice. I'm not going to slice it sideways. We'll just slice it like this. And then this was a listening thing. I don't hear it popping anymore, so I know it's ready. So I'm going to go ahead. Add the onion. And then I didn't stick this in the egg, and it just has a little bit of butter. I did not stick this in the egg. I just had it on my butter dish here. And a little extra butter is not going to hurt again, so I didn't have to rinse off the butter. I just added it in later. Again, I have a bunch of extra spoons, but I'm not grabbing 10 spoons. It's just more stuff to wash at the end of the day. And we have about 20 minutes left on our souffle here. And just keep on slicing up some vegetables. So we need 4 or 5 minutes. Then we'll add the celery stalks and the potatoes, and we're all ready for that. We are ready. Just some boring chopping. Making sure we don't, again on this recipe, we're not wanting to brown the onions. And we don't need to, it did call for chicken broth. I couldn't find the no chicken broth in the store, so we're just going to have to settle with a vegetable broth. Actually, just a teensy bit raise the temperature there, because I like making things harder for myself. If you ever need to cook, you can, if you know what you're looking for, like what the dish coming together is supposed to look like, you can cook things on higher temperature. And if you're still, and it'll cook faster. And if you need to be slower about something, you can just reduce the temperature and cook on it slower. The only limitations is that, you know, if you need to fry something, you need to have the oil at the correct temperature, otherwise it's not going to fry. It's just going to kind of sit there in a pool. One more celery stalk to go. Ah, ah, ah. One celery stalk. Ah, ah, ah. So very happy with all the fresh veggies. This, these seem, I'm still learning about what vegetables are in season during what times, and where they're getting shipped from into the stores. But the carrots, the potatoes, the celeries, the leeks, wintertime, I imagine, is the time for that. And then summertime is more the time for tomatoes, peppers, these types of things. Okay, let's see. And until softened but not brown. Again, now that I'm focused on this, I'm going to turn up the temperature to where a little bit higher. Okay, so they're softened. So to tell when they're softened is before they're browning, they're going to go slightly translucent on you is what to look for. Let's see, is there any cleaning up that we need real quick? Yes, so we got a little bit more celery to use. It said to use the whole celery stalk. I had a really big celery, so I only ended up needing to use half of it. And this is where I kind of see that I picked that up just from repeatedly cooking, just knowing when I looked at that, I understood that it was going to be too much for the recipe. Okay. Let's see. Add the celery and the potatoes into the pan. It's about that time because these are going to brown here in just a second. So we'll add the tomatoes. I escaped my cuts. Do. Whoop. Okay, there's that. Ooh, that costs extra. And then the celery here. Ooh, you know what? I might have to actually take this to it. If I have to add the 4 quarts, I think this is just big enough to be able to do that. We'll see though. And this is another reason why I turned the heat up. Even though my onions were cooking perfectly, I turned the heat up because I was about to add so much more stuff that I wanted it to have a little bit of a head start catching to the heat that I needed. I'm giving this a nice good mix. And we're going to cook for another 2 minutes. So when that gets to 13 minutes, pull it out. And this soup should be ready just in time with our souffle here. Got a couple extra. And then the rest of that we can just throw in together. So we'll leave that alone for a second. This is the garnish. Good. We'll have that on the side. Let's see. Three to 4 minutes, eh? So stirring frequently. So there's a difference between, and the recipe books, we're going over the wording a bit today. So there's a difference between stirring frequently and stirring constantly. Frequently is like what we're doing just now. You come back at it in about 30 to 45 seconds, maybe a minute. Give it another stir. Let it sit for longer. Let's see. No. And then we are actually going to get a small saucepan out for this next part. You are trusty. Everyone knows this from the tortilla frying. For the ceramics, I don't like using them for frying too much. This is what the wrong type of oil will do to your ceramics. This ceramic has seen better days, but he's a good old fryer now. And we're going to melt the butter, coriander. So fat. The reason why we're mixing I can tell you the recipe's mixing the butter and the spice is because fat is a flavor transferer, and we're putting all that flavor into the butter. That butter is going to seep through everything. Okay. Now let's see, do I add and then cover? Let's see. Time to add the carrots. I love how many vegetables are in this recipe. It's a good mixture. A little bit of everything. Mix these in. And if you at home, if you're having trouble where if it just seems when you have it this full that your food keeps on going all the way, let me break it down. What I'm doing is I'm getting under it, and I'm just lifting it up, and I'm pulling it back. So lifting it up, and then pulling it back. That'll help when it's so full, because you're like kind of making a little trough and going in. And if you get a little bit extras, this is why clean as you go, sign of a pro. I already had that all wiped down. Easy to just throw it back in. I'm not worried about it being grimy or greasy or anything. Still good food. And then we're going to cover this here in a minute as soon as I get a nice mix. And we're going to sweat the vegetables for about 10 minutes. Okay, and we'll go ahead and reduce the heat to low. 10 minutes. So our souffle is going to come out first. It's a little bit, could have had a little bit of a better timing on that. Let's get this table cleaned up a bit. So our rest of our celery over here. Don't need this guy anymore. Finally have time to be able to get that off the ground. Wash your hands. Ooh, that flavor of the leek is so awesome. Can't wait to see how it played in that souffle. There's parsley. I don't feel like this was in the same. Where did I forget? Was the parsley on this recipe? I got spare parts for some reason. Oh, nope, the cilantro's there, okay. Okay, so 6 to 8 leaves for garnish. Contrast, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we had those leaves right there. Okay, and then it says, finally chop the remaining celery tops. So this is coming up to 10. Another tablespoon of butter there. That's melting. We don't want to fry it. Tablespoon here. Just want it melting. So that's how I'm going to play with the heat right there. A little bit off, a little on. Come on. Maybe if I just ran it under some hot water. I'm getting sent straight to Weenie Hut Jr. That ain't cool, man. Where's Gordon Ramsay when you need him? There we go. Finish melting that butter and then finely chopped. So just folded it over a bit on itself. And then this is another great opportunity for a food processor. Okay. So that's all melted. Get our tablespoon. I'm excited at what this will smell like. And then I can already see I want to add just a little bit more to this. Yeah, that's the stuff. Give this as many passes as we can real quick. Then you'll notice that we're not taking the lid off our vegetables because we want to sweat them, so we need to let the water do its work there. Melt it in small, stirring constantly. Aha! So constantly, don't stop for about 1 minute. And then, I must be missing a step on this recipe here. Oh, yeah. I'm missing a couple of steps on this recipe here. Sorry folks, I didn't get it all into the presentation this time. So we have 5 more minutes about for those vegetables to be sweating. We'll go ahead and take that off the heat, turn that burner off, and we're going to get back into the Okay, so the last step that I didn't include was process the soup in a food processor or blender and pour it into a clean saucepan. Stir in the milk, cilantro mix, and seasoning. Heat gently and taste. Okay. About 5 more minutes on here. So we need 7/8 cup of milk. I'm going to go ahead and just add that to my butter bowl right there. 7/8 cup. Let's see. Since I obviously didn't get the cilantro, celery leaves and the celery tops. Was there cilantro? Where was I supposed to add the cilantro into this? This was one of my complaints about how the recipe was written, is it was just very hard to figure out where it was supposed to go with what. Okay, so, yeah, I did not transfer this correctly onto the PowerPoint. So unfortunately, the souffle is going to be 10 minutes behind our recipe because we need to, after these have sweated for 10 minutes, we need to add in the stock and simmer for 8 to 10 minutes. I'm trying to see where the cilantro is supposed to be added. I can't find it. Yep, it doesn't actually, I don't think this in the recipe book, I don't think it actually tells you what to do. So we're just going to finally get this chopped, and we're going to add it into this mixture right here is what we're going to do. Huh, funny stuff. Actually try to follow a recipe all the way through, and the book's like, nah, you got it. You can do this. So we only have 30 seconds for that souffle. And we're going to add another minute to that. Just another minute, because it looks like it still needs to get a little bit more brown. It's just starting to brown. So we'll add another minute or two to that, which is fine by me because you're supposed to serve that immediately and we're still waiting on our soup. We're going to go ahead, turn that back up. And these flavors are going to mix layers, so I'm not super worried about having a totally clean. I have the heat turned up on this because again I'm about to add in a bunch of liquid. I hope it fits. If not, we can just fill it to the top and we can add it to our stock pot. I'm going to transfer this to a stock pot. That way I can use the immersion blender with it. I'm getting really upset that whenever I open these up, the cap has already been broken on it. Like, I don't know what that's about. I'm going to trust it this time though. I already have another one in the cupboard that I didn't trust. It's getting pretty full. We almost couldn't get quite four in. I want to have a little bit of a lip because I still want the liquid's going to expand. I want that to come to a simmer. Take a look at our souffle. Just needs a couple seconds more. Just again, adding 1 minute at a time to it. I just want to get a little bit of a better of a brown top. And I'm not super worried about, the reason why I'm not super worried about having these finely chopped is because I am coming in with a immersion blender, so it will be taken care of. And we just need, now we need 10 minutes for this guy. Get our cutting board all cleared off. Rinse off our knife real quick. Hot pads to take the souffle out. Also, just to let you know, this is the first time I've ever made a souffle. I ain't trying to look good on camera. We're all expanding our horizons. I was really happy to try souffle because, again, I don't want people to think that cooking's intimidating. I don't want people to think that you need 10 years in the kitchen to make anything decent. You can make good food right away. I think the harder part is the quality of the ingredients and finding a good cookbook, not like this one that doesn't even tell you what to do with all the ingredients. And what I'm doing right now is clean as you go, sign of a pro. There we go. Whew, almost done. Oh, right, that's souffle. Almost forgot about it. So I got a couple extra minutes. And there's the souffle. Hey Donut Kid, thanks for joining. Really appreciate ya. Thanks for checking out the stream. We got a leek souffle and a carrot and cilantro soup. Giving this a little bit of a stir. It really didn't need it. It really just needs to come up to temperature. I have it at a 5.5 right now. If it boils on me, I'm going to have to turn it back down. So one souffle. Oh, wow. That's actually really rewarding. Okay. And we're almost done. I'm going to go ahead. I think I can sneak in the rest of this broth without it being a problem. It's going to be a little bit difficult to pour. Well, I'll show you folks how to do that. And then coriander was the special, what makes this the cilantro soup. I was reading it was either a Chinese or a Japanese version of cilantro. And then we had the celery and some regular cilantro greens. So this should be very tasty. I've never had the, wow, that's a great combination of flavor. Like the celery is, like I've never had celery come to the forefront like that. Celery is already off to the side. It's like, yay, I'm part of the vegetable broth. This is making it like I'm the celery stick. I am here in the food. I guess you are, celery. You are not getting dominated by anything. And then, let's get our large. Yeah, this guy. This is what I want. Bring that to a 2. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and have my milk already coming up to temperature. We only have 5 minutes. I'm going to turn this up a little bit higher so we can stop dinking around. This I also just, I added into the cilantro. I had it on low heat just to kind of cook everything in. So it says to stir in the milk. We're going to immersion blend the milk. So the souffle has settled down a little bit. You can see this nice browning on the sides here. This is why it was important. That's why I was beating those egg whites so hard. Okay, there we go. Now this is super full. So if this is too full for you, what we can actually even do is we can actually even take our measuring cup and we can take some out and add it until it's at a more manageable, just pour it. However, I also might just be making, I might just make a, I just found out that beating egg whites was rough. Like, it took me a whole 2 minutes until they were thick. I have, I would have used this guy next time. Next time, I'll just use the immersion blender and I'll just put the little whisk attachment on it, and no worries. I made a joke. I was like, man, it's like my Guitar Hero days right here, where you just. So we got it boiling. Gotta be careful. It's super full, so we don't want it to overboil. It just needs 3 more minutes. And then I have this. I don't want to boil my milk. I just wanted to have it brought up to temperature already. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off on that guy. But yeah, you can actually transfer this pretty easily if you just do it quickly. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take it off of the range top though when we do it. That way we can just avoid the possibility of too big of a mess. Put this on a hot pad over here real quick. Yeah, so let's put it right next to the splash zone on my computer, eh? Actually, that's a really good point. We're going to do it over here. We're going to pour over here. Yeah, that arm strength. Boom. The gun, I didn't tell you there was going to be a gun show. But yeah. You also, there's a lot of baking recipes that require you to mix. You can hand mix that stuff. You just have to remember, if it says, mix in a mixer for 5 minutes, that's going to take you about half an hour of mixing it by hand. But hey, that definitely does beat going to the gym on some days. So we got 2 more minutes of it boiling. Going to make sure everything else is tidied up. I'm going to put this cheese away real quick. Get that all folded up. Ooh, only 1 more minute left. Go ahead and turn off the oven here too. Okay, so I want to show you that it is possible to just pour and go. Hopefully, I'll make a frickin' fool of myself. Alright, it's make it or break it time on whether or not I'm a dunce or not. So the idea is to go quickly. Minimum spillage attained. It's perfect. Back on the heat over here to the 3. Actually, yeah, I want it here. I want it here. Turn that off. Now we get the good old immersion blender out. And then if you're wanting to use a traditional blender, you can just let it cool off, and don't add the milk. Let it cool off, blend it, bring it back to the stove, then add your milk. So this is a little bit more of the expensive immersion blender. I did find out that you can find them as inexpensive as $40. And soups, you can make real quick soups. It's totally worth it because cans of soup, pre-made cans of soup, they're all like $3, $4 for a can of soup, so your immersion blender will pay for it itself. And we're going to go ahead. Blending it all together. Brutal Ginger, hey, thank you for coming to the Vegetarian Cooking Show. Thank you very much. I'm plating it all together in about the next 5 minutes. We'll be able to have a taste and see how we did. So you can leave this as chunky as you like. I am going to go ahead and really try to blend this. If you want a chunkier soup, sorry, I was probably talking over that. Go ahead and just stop immersing it sooner. I'm going to go ahead and I really want to go for this to be the cream. Yeah, is it the fun part of the cooking show? Man, I'm sorry for everyone that has this on blast somewhere. Hopefully this isn't too loud. I'm not that technical yet. We'll get there though. The show is improving all the time. I used to not even have my recipes up. But we're getting there. So you'll hear it slurping, that means there's still chunks in there. Oh, you know what I did? I accidentally chopped up my celery garnish. It's okay, we have some more. We'll get that garnish. Okay, that should be about that. Go ahead and turn off. Whoop. Definitely quicker to have an immersion blender for that one. And we'll go ahead and add the last of our spice here. We'll stir that in. So that brings a nice little contrast, a little green to it. It's nice and pretty thick. All right, let's get this all plated up. Now the souffle was supposed, you can see you're supposed to serve the souffle because the longer they wait, the less fluffy it's going to be. That's okay though for this case. It's going with a nice soup. It'll be a nice side. Time to plate it all up. All right, have a nice little green dish, and we'll have a little bowl here for that, and we'll get some more of that celery garnish real quick. And I just need a leaf or two real quick, just for the soup top. I'll show you how that goes on. Just need to get those. Oh, I guess I already did rinse this. That's good. Okay. So for the soup spoon, right here. And then the garnish, I'll layer it like that. Oop, you can't see that. My bad. Boop, there we go. And the souffle. So the souffle recipe serves about 1 to 3 people. I haven't ever had to take one out before. Let's get a little bit of a fork action on here. Try to lower the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Come on, camera, work with me, buddy. There we go. Let's see. Ah, there's the piece I was getting out. You can see how we cut. Oh, good. It came perfectly on the camera. That's why you butter your dish right there. So it gave it nice and brown. It cut really well. This turned out great. And now you can see the souffle, not so daunting. And it was just a nice little side. Now this is my first time cooking a souffle, so I wasn't quite sure what to pair it up with, so I thought to go with a nice little soup. Let's try them. The leek plays really well with the egg. It really complements the egg. If you've ever had this experience where you're having something and it's like too eggy, this like takes it to the leek takes the egg to the top, and then it doesn't go past it. It doesn't become like, this just tastes like straight egg. Very well balanced with the leek. Now let's see. And again with the soup, to kind of show you the consistency here, it's not super runny, a little chunky here. So now I do remember that this was salt and pepper to taste. So I actually have some smoked pepper garlic here. So if something doesn't taste quite right, probably forgot the salt and pepper. A few shakes there. We'll try this again. There we go. That balances out all up, Eric. And you know, this is just a nice hearty soup. It has a very plain flavors to it, but the flavor has volume behind it, and that's probably because of the onion in the recipe. But you know, it's probably actually, no, you know, now that I think of it, is that it's the spice that we use, the one that I can't. So the leeks went into the souffle here, and that turned out wonderful. I'll show you what a leek is. So this is a leek here, and I just, this was the first time me cooking with them too, so it's like a gigantic green onion almost. The leaves have a great flavor to them. I'm just a weird old vegetarian, don't mind me. But you basically just use that part there like you would on a green onion. This still has flavor to it. It's not the best garnish though. Like, you'd have to run into a kind of like a hardcore vegetarian to be like, yeah, let's have it. Also, there's just like a lot of dirt and stuff that gets trapped in the leaves, so you have to wash it very well. Yeah, that's what I learned today. Let's see. So this the cilantro. So the flavor, the boldness or the fullness of it is the cilantro, and there's two types of cilantro that we use. We use the coriander. Am I saying that correctly? Coriander. And we fried that into some cilantro and the celery leaves, and it really helped it blend all together. Yep. Biting into the leaf is just really satisfying. I'm glad I didn't immerse blend that, because I really like it. Changes the flavor when you get part of the leaf here. So I'm also happy that I didn't finely chop. I kept it a little bit heavier, or excuse me, a little bit wider on the chop. It worked out very well. A little bit of salt and pepper carried it just the right place. Oh no, the white part. You want to... Yes, the white part. So, sorry, when I held this out, like a green onion, I meant this white part right here is pretty much what you use. And on the green onion, I like to use the leaf of that for garnish. Just take the rest of the green onion, throw that on top as garnish. It looks really great. Has a neutral flavor. This has coriander. Thank you for the pronunciation. Garlic and some smoked pepper. Some smoked pepper right there. It was, yeah, it's delicious. I just, brand new flavor to me. Definitely happy to have it there on the spice rack now. Yeah, this part. And then I'll have to look and see if there's any uses for this part. Oh, but however, so like a green onion though, I bet this is very similar way, is that since you cut it off here at this part right at the root, you can actually put this root in water and it should grow you a new leek. So it'll grow this part back again, and it should have enough energy to do that at least 2 more times. Whew. Okay, folks. So this makes for the souffle. You'll want to eat the souffle same day that you make it. I wouldn't really recommend saving this for leftovers, but I will experiment. I'm sure I will have some leftovers. The soups are great because you can take them into go mugs. This is going to be a nice 4 or 5 hearty servings. Great winter meal. Very happy with how this all turned out. Not so happy with how the recipes were written, but that was part of the challenge today, was that we were going to take how they were worded in the recipe book and we were going to still work through them together. And now all we have left to do is enjoy the eating. I really wish, I could just send all this food. It's like the fluffiest omelet I've ever had. That's the first souffle I've ever made, first souffle I've ever eaten. Okay. Well, that's our show for the night, folks. I got a little bit of cleaning, and it's always an abrupt end on Friday nights because I started this stream back in September when I had Friday nights off, and then the whole world got flipped upside down, and I started cooking graveyards again. I've been cooking, to answer your question of Brutal Ginger, I've been cooking since 2012. In the past couple years, I'm now kind of officially retired from the restaurant work. I'm working up to my own food truck at this point. I've cooked. I get to have that little fancy badge because I was lucky enough to go from Washington State to Florida, and now I'm out here in Colorado. So cooking all the way. So I get to say that I've cooked all over the country, and it's been a really great experience. Going to the East Coast totally opened up a different. The seafood is way more pronounced over on the East Coast than I would say it is on the West Coast. So that cooking things like dolphin and tilapia, my first experience with those types of fishes. But now I just do my own home cooking. I want everyone to know that they don't need the experience like I have it. Like, the only thing really, after all these years of experience, what the most benefits me is that I can eyeball my measurements and I can talk while I cook at the same time. I don't accidentally burn stuff. Other than that, like, as long as you can follow a recipe, anyone can make what I just made. Let's see, Donut Kid says, wants to try seafood. Oh yeah, then the West Coast. Oh yeah, especially Japan. I definitely want to, I'm really interested in getting some salmon. I'd really like to fish out of the Colorado River, where I know it's clean, and get some nice salmon. If there is salmon in Colorado, I'm not that sure. Let's see, Brutal Ginger says, sometimes it's nice not to do your passion full time, working for someone else. Yeah, that's how you lose a sense of passion for what you love. Very true. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I am passionate about the cooking, but I think I'm passionate on how it's really good medicine for people. Like, I know people have bad days, and that's kind of what inspired me to like show other people with the cooking, because I was so many times I was able to really change someone's outlook with the secret was onions. I just gave them something with onions, let's be real, but just something hearty and fulfilling. So folks, but like I was saying, I'm on the graveyard shifts now, so the clock's ticking for me to get down to work, folks. Happy New Year. to us all, you know. I know it's hard for us all to come together right now, but when we do, hopefully you're cooking something good. Don't be afraid to step up to the kitchen and try to make something delicious. It'll turn out great. You have all a good night, everybody. I'll see you next Friday. I don't have my plans all together on what I'm cooking. However, for anyone that follows me, my next improvement to the stream is that on Wednesday, I want to be able to email you the ingredients list through Twitch. And so by Wednesdays is when I'm going to start deciding on when to, Wednesday is when I'm going to have the show figured out on the ingredients list. And I cook at a fairly slow pace on other recipes. This one I was being a little bit quicker, but usually I take a 10-minute recipe and it gets extended out to about 30 minutes, so it's plenty of time to cook along, and I'll make that easier by including ingredients and recipe lists for next time. You all have a good night. Thank you so much for putting your energy into people. I'll see you all next Friday.